Alec Baldwin is an A-list celebrity in the public spotlight for over 40 years. He has won awards and earned millions as a great dramatic actor, comedic actor, and leading man. Alec Baldwin is also a man with a strong personality and outspoken opinions. He's had his share of controversy through the years, but nothing even close to what happened on the set of a movie he was shooting entitled Rust. While rehearsing a scene in a church, Alec drew his weapon, a Colt 45, and the gun went off. A single bullet struck two people, cinematographer Helena Hutchins and director Joel Souza. Helena died. Joel survived, but there are still a lot of questions surrounding what happened and how a live round ended up on a movie set where everyone is supposed to be safe. We'll bring in our experts to examine those questions as we continue to investigate the Alec Baldwin movie set shooting. Thanks for joining us. I'm Vinnie Politan. Alec Baldwin will not be held criminally responsible for having that gun in his hand, the gun that went off, the gun that discharged a bullet that took the life of Helena Hutchins. And it's not surprising, not shocking, but it leaves you kind of empty with more questions. And it's because of the way it all ended. It didn't end with a jury telling us what happened. It ended with a judge dismissing the case.
Court also has power, inherent power. Per State versus Lemire, where discovery violations inject needless delay into the proceedings, courts may impose meaningful sanctions to effectuate their inherent power and promote efficient judicial administration. The state's discovery violation has injected a needless, incurable delay into the instant jury trial. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
That's how it ends. Alec Baldwin, emotional, obviously. He knows he doesn't have to go to prison now. He's not going to be a convicted killer in a criminal sense. But we're still left with a huge question in this case. And it's the first question most people ask when they talk about this movie set shooting, which is, how did the live round get onto the movie set? It should never happen. And it did. But how and who? And I don't know if that question has been answered. We're going to try to answer that question, try to get some clarity to it. There's a couple of theories on this that we've been able to sort of extract from what we've heard in court and seen in court papers and in interviews, et cetera. And we begin with what really is the state's theory in all of this. Alec Baldwin and his revolver. So the live round came from Hannah Gutierrez. We know that she's the one who loaded his weapon. Now, where did she get that live round from? Well, this theory says she got it from her dad, who's the legendary armorer, Thel Reed. And it's that simple. Thel Reed's her father. He has some live rounds. Somehow, some way, she accidentally brings them onto the set and then accidentally loads the weapon. There's another theory. Alec Baldwin, the live round's given to him by Hannah Gutierrez, right? We know that. But Gutierrez got the round from prop master Sarah Zachary. Sarah Zachary got the round of Rust ammunition and from the props supplier, Seth Kenney. So Sarah Zachary gets it from Seth Kenney. And then Seth Kenney, where did he get the round from? Well, apparently he got the round from Thel Reed after they worked on the show 1883 together. During the show, there was a coaching session where the actors trained by shooting live rounds. And 125 of Thel's live 45 long Colt rounds were never used, and Seth kept them. So they're from Thel, but Seth is the one that kept them. So under one theory, Seth Kenney is introducing them. In another theory, Hannah Gutierrez through her father. But in both cases, it seems like the live round initiates from legendary armorer Thel Reed. But the question is, who got it from him? Wow. In the hours after the shooting, by the way, Kenney reached out to a man named Troy Teske in an attempt to prove his innocence, and suggesting that it was Gutierrez, Hannah, who had messed up. Teske, former police officer in Arizona. Teske had been known to store ammunition for Thel Reed. So Thel Reed, some of his ammo is being stored by somebody else, Troy Teske. Seth Kenney asked Teske to send him some of Thel's ammo. Kenney believed it could match Thel's ammo at Teske's house to the live rounds found on Rust. And then he could prove that, oh, it was Hannah who had gotten the rounds from her father. But they both got the rounds from their father. I think I need some more answers, some more clarity. So I need to bring in someone who knows even more than I do. Well, I don't even know a lot. He knows it all. Our special guest, Hannah Gutierrez's defense attorney, Jason Bowles, is with us. Jason, I went through that, trying to extract information from a trial, from interviews, from attorney arguments, etc. Is it right? And what are your thoughts about where this live round came from?
Yeah, you absolutely have that right. Very impressive the way you put that together. I'll tell you what, we're never going to definitively get the answer now, I don't think, because the biggest thing that happened was today, Troy Teske had the remainder of those rounds from the batch that came from Joe Swanson to Troy, who is storing them, and then they went to Thel, as you put in the graphic, and that's a picture of those rounds. And then they went to Seth Kenney on the set of 1883. Troy Teske, for years, has said to the state he would give them these rounds so they could test them. We pleaded with them to take the rounds to test them. They never did. Finally, at the end of Hannah's trial, he turns them over to the sheriff. Rather than testing them with the FBI, which we thought they would do the right thing, they hide the evidence in a new case and a new case number. So those were never turned over to Baldwin's team. They didn't know about them, that they had been done anything with them. They didn't know that report had been written. So here's the problem: we're not going to know until they test those.
So if the rounds on the Rust set came from that batch, what does that mean? Like, how do we know who brought those live rounds then onto this set? How do we know it's Hannah versus Seth Kenney through Sarah?
Well, Thel Reed says that Hannah never had access to those rounds that he had that were stored at Troy Teske's. The only one that we know that had access to them was Seth Kenney. We also know that he had the green ammo can, which Thel said he would have, and he did have it at his shop. 40 days after the incident occurred, tragic incident, the sheriff finally searched his place. The green ammo can was empty. Seth Kenney testified today he brought ammunition back, as I understand it, from the 1883 set. Where did those go? Now, one of the big things he had mentioned early on was the powder didn't match of live rounds that were found with the ones on set. That's why they need to test those rounds from Troy Teske to match the powder and determine if those match the rounds on Rust. If they do, the only one that had access was Seth Kenney.
This is an incredible development in all of this. Now, in your trial, you're representing Hannah Gutierrez, and we're hearing, and we heard from the prosecutor that this was your witness. This is a witness on your list, but you didn't call this witness. Why wouldn't you call this witness?
We didn't call this witness. We, as I said, had pleaded with the state to take possession of these rounds. They never got back to us. Carrie Morrissey had said she was going to send law enforcement to take possession of these rounds. She never did. It became too late to designate these as exhibits and too late for us to test and do anything with them. And the state effectively prevented Teske from doing anything with them because they said, hang on to them, preserve them. And so by that time, there was nothing to do except turn them over to the state.
Can you now somehow use this information and these developments to attempt to get Hannah's conviction overturned or get her a new trial?
Absolutely. We're going to be filing a motion Monday. There is a series of things that have turned over to us after the trial that we didn't have in the trial. A new interview of Seth Kinney. There were interviews of other people that weren't given to us before the trial. There was a third report of the expert, Mr. Haig. It wasn't provided to us. And then this new information today. And we're going to present this to the judge, who was a very smart, very fair judge, very experienced judge. And she applied the law today and said, we got to preserve the integrity of this system. We got to have a fair trial for everybody who is in that position.
Before I let you go here, Jason, I know it's been a long day for you as well. My concern in all these cases and for our system of justice is justice, which is the truth coming out in a courtroom. Do you think the truth has come out yet inside of a courtroom as to what really happened and why it happened?
A lot more of it came out today, but you're absolutely right. Justice is getting to the truth. And that is in every case that you ever have in this country. We do not have the whole truth because the state has refused to test those rounds. The state refused to do DNA and fingerprint on those rounds. The FBI lab is one of the best labs in the world, had all of that capability. They still do. The state still has the opportunity to test the rounds. But no, we have not heard the whole truth yet.